So this is how I found the Bendix gear. Basically stuck up against the flywall. It hadn't retracted. I took a picture of it before I got started, and I did go ahead and lower that back down. Now it's good and stuck. I was able to actually crank this back around. There we go. So I pulled this off really just to make sure it wasn't locked up. But this is what happens. It's not the battery. It still could be the relay, but even with the relay fixed, we're gonna have issues. So basically what I've done is I've disconnected the power to the starter, and I connected it to a remote starter that I have in my hand. And then I connected that to the power of the battery. Now we're gonna go ahead and try the 1000 cranking amp battery that I have as well, but this is what happens when I push this button. So even when it was working, I recall that sometimes the Bendix gear would pop up, it would engage the flywheel, but it would just struggle to turn that flywheel, which would indicate some sort of issue potentially with the motor itself. Now, I was able to pretty easily turn the motor by hand. It turns over, good compression, and it moves freely. I also don't hear any kind of grinding or anything. So I don't think we have problems internally, but I can't say for sure until we at least get that motor turning, so then I could do a compression check. I mean, without ripping it apart, we would start with a compression check, and that generally will give you an idea of the health of the engine. So what I'm gonna try now is I'm gonna go ahead and hook this whole rig up to my 1000 cranking amp battery and see if we have any better luck. Okay, so what I did here was I connected this ground after disconnecting that battery and turning everything off. I connected that to where the battery ground is supposed to be, and then have the exact same rig set up, but we're using this battery instead of your battery. So let's see what we got. It moves a little bit more, but not enough. So that also could have something to do with the limited current that goes through these small wires. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish. I'm gonna hook up that red directly to your battery and see if we can get a crank that way. All right, well, as you can see from that, I've already done this a couple of times. I hate toasting the terminals on this, but we got a little more power to it, but there's still some sort of major resistance in the engine, so that even a 1000 cranking amp battery with 800 cold cranking amps is not quite turning this. It'll throw it up, and here's what I mean. Oop, that didn't do too well. I hate doing this. Yeah, it's just, there's something going on there, and I'm not sure what. Yeah, I think in order to dig into it deeper, it's gonna have to be out of the water. I hate to say. I'm gonna go ahead and bypass that and connect that directly to there and see if we have any better luck. But at this point, I don't really expect it's going to. That Bendix gear keeps getting stuck in there. And it's, I mean, I can't imagine the starter failed again, but it's entirely possible. I hate to say. I don't know. At this point, it's still a mystery. So the relay is definitely bad, but that's not the core of the problem. There's something else going on for sure. The starter's acting like it's bad, and it might be. There's something that's causing the starter to go bad, I believe, and something that I believe is causing the relay to go bad. I don't know what that is. So the starter continues to get stuck there. And what just happened just a second ago was I was able to actually get it to turn at the key. The weird thing is when I turn the key off, it continued to try to crank. I'm not sure if it'll do it again. It's not the best thing to do. And what that would indicate is that the relay was stuck in the on position. So again, you've got a positive and a negative constant that comes in from the battery that's always hot, and then you've got, but they're not bridged. Then what the relay does is when you apply the ignition, it bridges those two, like my thumb is bridging the two, and causes the starter to turn, causes the starter to throw out the Bendix gear and engage the flywheel, which causes the entire motor to turn and the crank to turn. What probably just happened is that little mechanical, it's not like my thumb, it actually, I'm holding my phone, I can't do it, but it's a piece that would go across. It got stuck in the down position and was connected. So I had to very quickly turn this off. And now it looks like it's stuck in that position. It's because the key is completely in the off position here, as you can see. This is off, but as soon as I turn it over, it tries to crank it. So that's weird. Not sure why that's happening. So it seems, at least for now, the relay's working again. Relay was not working at all, it was just clicking. Then it got stuck into the on position, and it seems to be working again. So number one, we need a relay. It's going to be difficult to test that starter because it's throwing out. You know, generally to bench test it, you would just pull the starter, hook it up to a power source, and see if that Bendix gear throws out. Beyond that, there's not much that can be tested. It would be a replacement item, assuming that maybe the brushes were worn out or something. And starting a difficult to start engine over and over again can burn out the bushings, the brushes. So I hate to say it, but I think in order to even troubleshoot the engine, we're going to need probably another starter, but definitely a relay. I'm not really sure. Kind of at a loss here. I'm going to have to do a little more research and see what I can come up with. This is what we got right now. So this is with 2 batteries going for cranking, and this is what we run into. See now, look, key's totally off. It's stuck in the on position again. That relay is stuck in the on position for sure. Well, the starter just started smoking. When it got stuck in the on position, that starter started smoking. So that starter's probably toast, and the relay is toast. It keeps getting stuck in the on position. Sometimes it'll work, but you kind of got a first-hand look there. With the key out, it was continuing to try to start because that relay was stuck into the on position. So I can't get it to start no matter what. I was hoping to at least get it to crank over, and then we could replace the relay and troubleshoot the rest of the motor, but probably going to have to put a new starter in it, definitely have to put a new relay in it. But even after that's done, we need to find the source of the problem, what keeps causing these problems to happen. Checked all the fuses. I replaced the cables. I used my own cables, not these that I know work well. And we cannot make any real progress here, so I don't want to just continue to burn time. I think we're just going to have to stop it right there, and I can come back when we have another starter and another relay. At the very minimum, another relay, probably another starter too, because I can't rule out that the starter isn't bad, and considering I just saw it smoke, it's definitely not good.